All right, I'm Joseph Osgarden from Grand Forks, North Dakota. I'm here to give you a quick little rundown on some V5 coding and give you kind of some info to get you started on that. First thing I want to direct you right to is going to be the VEX knowledge base. This is going to be a great place to find coding for V5 that you can use very quickly. So, sorry, I'll go back there. So I just typed in kb.vex.com. And then I went down to VEX V5 because that's the program we're using. And from here, I can go to VEX Code V5, and I can find all sorts of different information on starting new projects, checking firmware, installing on whatever it is that I'm using, working on C++, Python, blocks. Whatever software you're using, it's going to help you get started on that. Okay? Configuring, there's so many different things that are going on with it. I could spend more time than I really need to going through all these different things. We go up here, and we can change to, maybe you're like, ooh, I'm going to use VEX Code Pro. I really haven't found a big difference between VEX Code Pro versus just VEX Code V5, other than there's some different add-ons and extensions you can add into Pro that you otherwise couldn't do on just regular VEX Code. But I personally use VEX Code Pro whenever I'm doing coding, things like that. So there's your first real big kind of source of information to get you started on installing it or whatever else it happens to be. Meanwhile, on VEX Code, there's a couple things I want to point out. This is just a chunk of code that I've got set up on my computer that I did. I'm going to plug my V5 brain into my computer here, and I'm going to show you a couple things. When I have this plugged in, and oh man, my resolution is weird. In the very top corner here, I've got a green brain icon. Oh goodness, can I fix that? Future me will have to figure that out. I've got a green brain icon. And this is going to be an important spot because when I click on this, I can set some different things. Okay? You have brain name. That really doesn't matter. That doesn't change anything on your robot. What is going to be important is the part where it says team name. This is where you would want to put your team number and letter that goes along with it, because the smart field control will be able to read this and will tell when you are there connected to the field. So those using the smart field control, they're going to need this. To me, it's kind of a misnomer because it's team name, but really we want your team number. I don't know. Second, you can see that my brain here requires a firmware update. Now, if I don't do that update, it's going to show on the smart field control, and it's going to yell at me and say, hey, this person hasn't updated their brain yet. So you want to make sure you do those updates if you haven't done those updates. I'm not going to do it right now. Within the software itself, if you just go to File and go Open Examples, that shouldn't be blank. Got to quickly audible this. I'll let somebody I'm going to have to let somebody, let's do this. I'm going to cut that real quick. Since this isn't functional, I'm really sorry for those on the stream and for the video. And then I'll pop my computer back in. I don't need that, but I do need power. All right, and I am back in, and hopefully this is going to work. We're going to find out. Once again, go to File, Open Examples. There we go. And I have a ton of different sample codes that I can just pull up as I need to. Maybe I'm building clawbots. Great. Pre-configured ones. Okay. The most important one to make note of is competition template. You always want to start coding your robot with competition template. So I picked that from the example list. I'm going to name it. I have to make sure that there's no spaces or anything like that. And it's going to open this up. And what's nice is there's so many comments in here that are going to walk me through everything that I need to do to make this work and where I need to put it. Okay, insert autonomous code here. Great, I can do it. If it's not green, it means it's working in its actual code. Okay, user control code here. Great, I put it in. It takes care of everything. Sometimes I think there's a lot of issues that happen where people will do code down here in this while loop and will take care of all that, and they're not actually inputting your code here, which is what is going to probably be running on the software. So you got to make sure that you're putting your code in the right spot so that when your field control software sends the command to your robot brain to do certain things, it's executing what you want to. I don't know if I could possibly count the number of times that people tell me it works great when I have the little controller on the practice field, but it doesn't work on your field. Your field's broken. I don't think that's quite how that works. Okay? But make sure that your code is in the right spot. Now let's say you're new to coding and you just want to practice some stuff. Okay? I'm going to go to Open Examples again. And we can find all sorts of templates for all sorts of different things. Right? These would be the model bots. So you can find configured versions of those. Claw and arm. You can use specific positions. Drivetrain with variables. That's a really kind of useful one. Moving backwards. Autonomous driving. So you can find samples to do everything you want it to do. Okay? Magnet isn't legal for competition. There's so many different things here. Drawing shapes. I think you can get into some, there we go, sensors. Okay. Accelerometer, rangefinder for learning to use the ultrasonic sensors. Light detection, vision, bumper sensors. Okay. Using the GPS sensor for your first couple times. These aren't going to work perfectly. They're going to get you a start. There's no way that you can just look somebody in the eye and tell them, I'm going to teach you how to code this or code anything from start to finish perfectly every time, because that's not how coding works. Okay? You can teach somebody the basic skills and the basic things that they're going to need to know, but then it comes down to they need to take the time to practice it and get used to it in order to be better at it. And that's just how that works. There's no other way to make it happen. Okay, so practice things with your coding. Encourage your students to be practicing with their coding so that they get better at this and they learn how to do it. Optical sensors. You can always open tons of new windows to add all these in and then start mashing things together, see how they work. So much example code for someone to work with if they wanted to work with it. As far as what do I do here? So I've got my competition template. Top right corner, you have this little port-looking icon. You're going to click that, and you're going to add your devices. You know, I have a controller. Yay. Okay. I have a 2-motor drivetrain in ports 10 and 11 maybe. Okay. Maybe you've added an inertial sensor, or maybe you're just using the GPS sensor. Great. Okay. You just click what you got. Inertials in port 14. I don't know. You can set a couple things. Don't really have to. Hit done. Okay, and now if you're a brand new coder and you're like, okay, I just want to drive my robot. I've got a drivetrain in here. Click on your controller. Click on the sticks. Set different drive examples, however you want to do it. Practice them. You just got to get in there, try stuff, make it happen. It's the only way to get better at coding. And as you go, challenge yourself. Add variables into it. And you're like, I don't know a variable. Go find the example code for variables. Learn a couple things by looking through the code, reading comments. Maybe you're like, I don't know what a void is. Go to the sample code. Look for the one about voids. Okay? All of those are great programming things, and all you have to do, use what's given to you. There's not a lot of extra things that you need as part of that. Jared is going to share us something here real quick. Yeah. Webpage.
All right. So, Joe showed you a lot about the VEX Code Pro and how to navigate and how to do stuff. I found a resource a while back, and I kind of forgot about it. And I just, a couple days ago, I went and checked it out, and there's this website, and I think, if I remember right, I'm going to have to Google this just to make sure. Okay, yeah, so it's a C-STEM network, and it's kind of a weird URL, but if you go to that, cs2n.org, this is something I believe Carnegie Mellon developed, and it's got a lot of curriculum, and it's not just for VEX. So if you've got Lego teams or things like that, there's a whole bunch of different curriculum that you could have your participants go through. And back a few years back, I actually would make my teams build a Clawbot, and they had to go through the challenges for basic movement and sensors before I let them move on to building an actual competition robot. So they had like this introduction to robotics through this curriculum, and it was really nice because I didn't really have to do much in terms of instruction. They break this up into getting started with VEX, and they've got a bunch of information there. There's a section on the robot brain, and we usually go through some of this, but then we would move into like basic movement. It's really nice if you purchase Clawbot kits like Mark was talking about in his session on ordering. This program's designed for the Clawbot kit. If your organization's interested in like the fleet bots like Paula has, this works really well for those because they're very similar robots and similar designs. So you can do all these challenges with those robots, and it's really nice. It breaks you through step by step. So, and then there's always these little mini challenges. You do some more learning lessons through there. They show you it's all in VEX Code Pro, so it's all text-based coding. So if you want your kids to be using industry-level coding versus blocks, it's all built in there. And they build and break down and teach you what all the functions are and all the commands and all that. So it's pretty cool for that. And then they have like check for understandings at the end and little additional information. Did you know this about the inertial sensor? You can take a look and read up on that. So this is a great resource. Kids can go through and see if they actually learn something from each little lesson, and then they build these bigger challenges towards the end. So like this one's final delivery challenge. And the cool thing about the challenges is they're usually not like super elaborate things that you have to build. You can a lot of times just use previous objects from old games and set them up and set up a field that's similar to whatever they have in the pictures. So you can kind of make it up on your own. But yeah, I would just tell the kids they have to go through basic movement and then do the sensor challenges for specific sensors that I wanted them to use before they could move on. So that's a resource that's out there and it's free.
What was that called again?
This is...
Was it C-STEM?
CS2N is the C-STEM network.
C-STEM network.
And it's
awesome.
by Carnegie Mellon Robotics Academy. They also do, I guess I was looking into this a little bit, they got certifications, so like, you know, if you want to be a certified teacher or whatever, and they have some training things, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, so that's a really cool resource, so that, again, that's CS STEM network, and I just Googled CS2N and it popped up.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a new resource for you.
Very cool. I think I've got one more that you just made me think about that I'm going to point out here. Oh, let's see if I remember the website for this. Brandy, how do I get to the VEX certification? Is that just certifications? Yay, certifications.vex.com. So there's a couple different educator type certification courses you can take. So let's say I'm a brand new IQ coach. I can take a quick little online self-paced course that's going to do a lot what that Carnegie Mellon will. It'll have me kind of build a robot out of my starter kit that I've got. It's going to have me do the programming for that. It's going to walk me through that so that I, as an advisor, would have a starting to know how do I program this, how do I do my controller, basic movement, construction techniques, how do I teach them with IQ. Super, super helpful. Depending how your district works, you might even be able to say, hey, this was a 14-hour course. Can I get professional development credit for this? I don't know the process for that necessarily, but that'd be something you could definitely look into. There we go. And, yeah, gotta love the email signatures. But, it's all over the place. If I'm a V5 coach, which I guess that is the session we're in, so that would make sense. Click. Now our internet's going to die. There it is. Same thing, 21 hours. I do believe I took this back when it first came out, so it was pretty good. Definitely something to look at if you've got the time. Do we have any questions, comments, concerns? By the way, your students will take coding to the absolute next level beyond anything that you will ever need to know as an educator or as a coach. It's the students who will drive this and will do absolutely phenomenal things you didn't even know you could do. So, all right, not seeing any questions. I'm going to call it there, and I want to thank you for joining us for this little session on coding. I think we got one more session left for the day.